Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Shri Radha Giri Bhagwan ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki Jai Shri Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Nitai Gautama Bhagwan ki Jai Granjraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Do you know where to put this? What? Do you know where to pack this away?
Pack away.
Yeah. Because I won't be here. So
Okay, where do I pack it?
you just put it in the cupboard.
Inside.
Yeah. Okay. The computer.
Okay. Jai, all Guru should assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All Guru should assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All Guru should assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All Guru should look at the Shri Guru and Shri Bharam ki Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhuta Vishnu Mahavishnu Goswami Mangani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhuta Vishnu Bhakti Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Prasad. Okay, so reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We're continuing with this chapter, a very nice, saintly person. Were there any classes in the week? Anyone knows? Because I was there when Arjuna didn't know. There's one class, he just said, probably. No? From last Friday? Okay. We'll just continue. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was often traveling, and Abhay was busy with his family and business. So to arrange another meeting was not possible. Yet from their first encounter, Abhay considered Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati his spiritual master. And Abhay began thinking of him always. I have met him. I have met such a nice, saintly person. Whenever possible, Abhay would seek out Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's disciples, the members of the Gaudiya Math. So, for Gandhi's movement, Gandhi had suffered a bitter setback when his non-violent followers had blundered and committed violence during a protest. British had taken the opportunity to arrest Gandhi and sentence him to 6 years in jail. Although his followers still revered him, the nationalist movement had lost much of its impetus. But regardless of that, Abhay was no longer interested. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had defeated his idea that the nationalist cause was India's first priority. He had invoked Abhay's original Krishna consciousness, Haribo, and Abhay now felt confident that Bhakti Siddhanta's mission was the real priority. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had invited him to preach, and from that moment, Abhay had wanted to join the Gaudiya Math as one of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's disciples. But now, instead of his political inclinations, it was his family obligations that stood in the way. He was no longer thinking, first let us become an independent nation, then preach about Lord Chaitanya. Now he was thinking, I cannot take part like the others. I have my family responsibilities. And the family was growing. In 1921, Abhay and his wife had their first child, a son. And there would be more children. And more income would be needed. Earning money meant sacrificing time and energy. And it meant, at least externally, being distracted from the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Indian culture had the highest regard for the family institution, and divorce was unheard of. Even if a man was in great financial difficulty, he would remain with his wife and children. Although Abhay expressed regret at not being a sannyasi disciple in the Gaudiya Math, he never seriously considered leaving his young wife so early in their marriage. Gaur Mohan was pleased to hear of his son's attraction to a Vaishnava guru. But he never expected Abhay to abandon responsibilities and enter the renounced order. A Vaishnava could remain with wife and family, practice spiritual life at home, and even become active in preaching. Abhay would have to find ways to serve the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati as a family man. Abhay thought that if he were to become very successful in business, then he could spend money not only to support his family but also to help support Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. An astrologer had predicted that Abhay would become one of the wealthiest men in India. But with his present income, he could do little more than provide for his family's needs. He thought he might do better by trying to develop a business on his own. Abhay expressed his feelings to Dr. Bose, who listened like a sympathetic father, and suggested that Abhay become his agent for all of northern India. Abhay could purchase medicines, liniments, rectified spirits, toothpastes and other items wholesale from Dr. Bose's factory and would travel throughout northern India, building up his own business. Also, Abhay had enough experience with Bose's laboratory that he could try to make and market some of his own medicines and products. Dr. Bose and Abhay decided that the centrally located city of Allahabad would be a good choice, good place for Abhay to make his headquarters. I think we'll stop here. So it's the end of 47th page. You know, even now, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Bose laboratory still produces some medicine. And especially one which is famous is eye drops. It's called Eye Tone. They are really good. Just for keeping the eyes healthy, you know. Eye Tone. It's called I, the letter I, and T-O-N-E. We used to get it here in the temple. I don't know if it's still available in the gift shop. But apart from that, in other places you don't find it in New Zealand. Yeah, unfortunately. But it's very good. It's very good. Should lay your hands on it and apply every night. Perfect eyesight. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, now continuing with our study and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Please excuse me, as we were not being informed about what verses to study on. I've prepared broadly on few verses. So I think last one I read was 40. So we're on 41 at the moment. तथा परे सिद्ध गणा महर्षि भी ये वै समन्ताद अनु नीललोहितम नमस्कृतः प्राह शाशांक शेखरम कृत प्रणामं प्रहसन इवात्मभूः तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्तादनुनीललोहितम् नमस्कृतः प्रारः शशाङ्कशेखरम् कृत प्रणामं प्रहसन्निवात्मभूः तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्ताद् अनुनीललोहितम् नमस्कृतः प्राह शशाङ्कशेखरम् कृत प्रणामं प्रहसन्निवात्मभूः तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्तादनुनीललोहितम् नमस्कृतः प्राह शशाङ्कशेखरम् कृत प्रणामं प्रहसन्निवात्मभूः. The word towards synonyms, translations and purpose by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If you can repeat after me, please. Tatha, so, apare, the others, siddha ganaha, the siddhas, maharishibhi, along with the great sages, ye, who, Vai, indeed, Samantat, from all sides, Anu, after, Nila Lohitam, Lord Shiva, Namaskrutaha, making obeisances, Praha, said, Shashanka Shekharam, to Lord Shiva, Kruta Pranamam, having made obeisances, Prahasan, smiling, Eva, as Atma Bhuvu, Lord Brahma. So the others, the Siddhas, along with the great sages, who indeed from all sides, after Lord Shiva making obeisances, said, to Lord Shiva, having made obeisances, smiling as Lord Brahma. Translation. All the sages who were sitting with Lord Shiva, such as Narad and others, also offered the respectful obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped, Lord Brahma, smiling, began to speak to Lord Shiva. Purport. Lord Brahma was smiling because he knew that Lord Shiva is not only easily satisfied, but easily irritated as well. He was afraid the Lord Shiva might be in an angry mood because he had lost his wife and had been insulted by Daksha. In order to conceal his fear, he smiled and addressed Lord Shiva as follows. Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Praeshu Abhadreshu नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय ग्रंथसार श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। So let's see what Krishna inspires us to speak on today. So all the sages were sitting with Lord Shiva, whereas Narad and others also offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped, Lord Brahma, smiling, began to speak to Lord Shiva. So in the previous verse, it is mentioned that how Lord Indra, Lord Brahma, all the demigods and sages were traveling with them. They met Lord Shiva with folded hands. They paid their obeisances to Lord Shiva. And he was dressed in the garment of saffron. We discussed that last Friday. And that although Lord Shiva's position is far superior to that of Lord Brahma, as we discussed, people misunderstand that Lord Shiva was born from the eyebrows of Lord Brahma, so he is his son, technically inferior. Yes, it is true, technically inferior, but the role that he is playing is far superior of destroying the material creation. At the same time, this is the third incarnation of Lord Shiva. Previous to that is that of Shambhu, who lives in, and Shankar, who lives in Kailas temple, Kailas abode. That's where they've reached here. And the before incarnation, the original incarnation, is Sadashiva, incarnation of Lord Shiva, who is in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha planets. That's why it is mentioned that even his planet of Kailas is nearly as good as that of Lord Krishna's Golok Vrindavan. But because he is constantly serving Krishna, he takes up the responsibility of delivering the fallen living beings who have not utilized their opportunity of life as a living being in their material bodies, and have fallen into demoniac conditions, demons, ghosts, pishachas. He is their Lord, and that's why he lives in crematoriums and applies ashes on his body and hair. Such a merciful personality as a service to Krishna. So here then Lord Shiva's lotus feet were worshipped by both the demigods and demons. But still, in spite of his exalted position, as soon as he saw Lord Brahma, and there among all the other demigods, he immediately stood up and offered his respect by bowing down and touching his lotus feet, just as Vamandev offered his respectful obeisances to Kashyap Muni. Kashyap Muni, although father of Vamandev, but Kashyap Muni was Jiva Tattva, not Vishnu Tattva. And Vamandev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. And because of Lord Vamandev, we have Mother Ganges on earth, in this universe. And Lord Vamandev appeared during the 6th Kalpa, Manvantara of Lord Brahma. 6th Manu. So not very far, we are on the 7th Manu. You know, 6th Manu. So of course, it's very millions of years ago.
Who was Vamandev's father?
Sorry?
Who was Vamandev's father?
Kashyap Muni. That's what it says. You know.
And Kapil Dev's?
Kardama Muni.
Kapil.
Kapil Deva's father, Kardama Muni. So here, Vamandev also used to offer his respectful obeisances to his father, who was Jiva Tattva, because he accepted his service as a father and became the son. To service. Even Lord Krishna would carry, whenever his father, Lord Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj would request him to get his slippers, his sandals. So Krishna would not just bring the sandal like this. Lord Krishna as a child would pick up the sandals, put him on his head and carry the sandal and put it on his lotus feet of his father. This is how he would give respect to his father. And Nanda Maharaj would worship, his personal deity was Nrsingadev deity. So, Krishna never transgressed his position as the Lord, as the boss of everyone. And because he never transgressed his position, all his followers also never transgress the position. They give proper respect to people. Like it is said in the material world, it's only when you give respect that you get respect. One cannot demand respect. Yes, people do demand respect. But then the respect which is given to them is not with the heart. Just like when you serve somebody, the other person also serves you back. You cannot expect people to keep serving you, and we do not serve anyone. Srila Prabhupada would say, in England, Prabhupada would say, the disciple remembered that Prabhupada was sitting and all devotees had gone away for doing the services, book distribution, various things. And Prabhupada was honoring Prasadam, afternoon. And one disciple came and Prabhupada said, see, all of you are doing service. I'm doing nothing. I just sit and eat Prasadam. He accepted that. And they said, no, Prabhupada, you do. But see, Prabhupada's mood was like this. So how can we not do service? And we are doing service. Just last Saturday we were doing a program, a festival of Krishna. We were discussing this point to all brand new people who didn't even know about Krishna. So we discussed about the difference between spirituality and religion. We discussed last Friday, Dharma. So I asked this question. So surprising was that I said, you all are educated people, and how much time have you spent to understand what is religion and what is spirituality? How many of you identify yourself as spiritual and religious? So quite a few. So then what is religion and what is spirituality? I said, we don't think. And somebody thought like that immediately and gave an answer. But he admitted, I just made up just now, And others said, yes, it's right. So we discussed this point that spirituality being spiritual, we took this cue to discuss we are not the body, we are spirit soul, a spirit soul. We are different from the body. So when we act on the body, we act on the spirit soul's purpose using the body. That is called spiritual. And dharma, religion, means the purpose for which the soul comes into existence. And that is to do service. So that point, only by doing service can we win any other living being's heart as well. Is it not so? Even as parents, we serve children. As children, we serve parents. Husband, wife, pillow, bed. We serve our pillow also, nicely. We serve our clothes as well. We serve our body. Serve as dharma of the soul is to serve. And the purpose for which the soul was born was to serve Krishna. Mamevamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So he says that, Krishna says, all living beings in the whole creation are my fragmental, separated spiritual sparks. All living beings, he says. But he says, manas astriyani indriyani. He says that, but in the material world, all the living beings who are living, they are unnecessarily struggling with all their senses, using their mind as their head. Unnecessarily struggling. So the easiest way to really be transcendental is to always think, I don't belong here, although I'm living here. And how will I react if I was not in the body? All these needs are the bodily needs. The victimization of food, hunger, sex, everything is bodily needs. As a spirit soul, our needs are totally different. And the needs of the soul is what is significant. And we pray. Prabhupada says, pray to Krishna, help me, please, to come out of this. And Krishna will help. This is very powerful. This thinking is very powerful. And this powerful thinking, when we can do regularly, every time, then we remain transcendental all the time. Otherwise, we are transcendental sometime, we come down, up and down. So we have to be very focused. And to help focused, we have to chant the holy names of the Lord, because that is where we are requesting us to be engaged in Krishna's service. Again, engaged in the service of Krishna as a spirit soul. And right now we are restricted in the material world with the body that we have got. Man body, woman body, human body, dog body, cat body. Of course, those cannot serve Krishna. They can too, but generally not. So, that is how, with the request to serve Krishna as a spirit soul, we utilize our body as per the needs of the spirit soul in serving Krishna. It's very simple, really. Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga is very simple. You can nearly miss it if you are not particular. And we may think abhas, we may think like we are doing service. But if our mind is somewhere else, action is somewhere else, slowly we will be disinterested. Slowly, it goes away. So, yad yad acharati shreshthas tad tad eva taro janaha sayat pramanam karute lokastvam anuvartate. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever an important person, he performs those actions, common people will follow. So when Krishna himself gave so much respect to his parents and elders, even Prabhupada writes that in Mahabharata war, when Krishna met Yudhishthira Maharaj, Krishna even touched Yudhishthira Maharaj's lotus feet because he was his elder. Just see. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is the incarnation of Yamaraj. Way different from Vishnu Tattva. And as Yamaraj, he is a son of sun god Vivaswan. Again appeared just in the 6th Manvantara. So, if Krishna can do, if Lord Vamanadev can do, then when Kapildev can do, then Lord Shiva will always do, giving respect to elders. And when we give respect to elders, we do not understand this, but the blessings have its own role. We think it's okay, the blessed is alright, but the well-wishing is very, very important. There's a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which talks about how do we get rid of the 3 modes of material nature. Prithu Maharaj prays this. Gunayanam शीलधनं कृतघ्नं वृद्धाश्रयं शृण्वन्ते अनुसम्पदाः प्रसीदतां ब्रह्मकुलं गवां च Janardana Shanucharascha Mahiyam. So here, Prithu Maharaj, who is also a Shaktiavesha avatar, specially empowered incarnation of Krishna, he is praying, Gunayanam, Shiladhanam, Krutagnam. How beautiful it is there. He says that, Vruddha Shrayam Shrunavanate Anusampadaha. Third line is very important. Vruddha Shrayam. Vruddha means people who are elder. Ashraya means taking shelter of them. So, if we can take shelter of people who are elder to us. Now, Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, there are two kinds of elder people. One is who is elder by age, and second, who is elder by experience. So, here, Prithu Maharaj are referring to that those people who are elder with experience in bhakti. You see, these elder people who are actually in bhakti, he is requesting to take their shelter. Now what happens by doing that? What happens is this, that those elders who are experienced become our well-wishers. Now when they become our well-wishers, like here Lord Brahma became well-wishers of Lord Shiva. Although Lord Shiva may be angry at what happened, but still, as a Vaishnava, he gave respect and kept his cool. Inside he may be upset. And he knows that Lord Brahma also knows he may be very upset because he lost his wife. But he really did not. This is called Dhira. Dhirastatana Mohyati. This is Dhira. So, when the elders give us respect, give us blessings, means those with experience, somehow or other, we are at peace. I'll tell you how we are at peace. While in India, I was talking to my friend's father. He was at the time 70, 77 years old or something. He said, I'm an old man. No? I said, I feel that we are not utilizing the older generation in the whole world actually. Yes, in New Zealand and the Western countries we have got something like, old people, they give services. What do they call it? Where people can go and get free counseling, free information. Community Advice Bureau. Community Advice Bureau. But still, just imagine, all those people who have become retired, some may be engineer, some may be tradesmen, some may be chartered accountant, some may be lawyer, some may be anybody. If in every suburbs, locality, if people can come together, if they're giving an opportunity, here's a house, here's a room, you sit here between 2 to 5 or 1 to 5, few hours a day, and ordinary people can come and take guidance from you. Excuse me, sir, I've got a leaky problem, what do I do? So the builder may say, do like this, do like that. Oh, great. Or I've got a problem with, counseling with my wife, my husband. How should I solve this? This is what we should do. So the transfer of knowledge, when that stops, the parampara stops. I have experienced this, I'm telling you. In India, the Indian culture still has got this, the transfer of knowledge from elders to juniors. Like the mother, from mother to the daughter, or from mother to daughter-in-law. What kind of food to prepare? How is those food prepared? How certain things are to be solved? How things are not to be solved? What happens when there is a crisis situation? That is the reason why I give special attention personally whenever an elder talks about his experience. When a person speaks about his experience, we switch off, Oh, he's old man, he's fluffing, he's old, frustrated. But when you listen carefully, you can learn so many things. I give you a few examples. And I utilize this like this. It's a skill, freely available. I'll tell you. I came here in New Zealand, wanted to get some carpets done for my property, So I went to carpet place and I saw those carpets and all that, So this is the price, the best price and all those things, this guy said. I said, okay. I said, is this your best price? Or you can do better? I want to buy, I can buy this whole lot from you now. This is the price that you're selling me, give me a good price. So he smiled, he said, okay, this is the price for you, because you asked. So I told him, thank you, mate. Actually, my father would say that if you do not ask, you do not get. So he smiled. He said, my dad said the same thing, He said, second thing my dad would tell me all the time is that it doesn't cost you anything to ask. At the most, he would say no. He laughed. He said, that's right. Exactly, my father said the same thing. So, if you don't ask, you don't get. And it doesn't cost you anything to ask. So simple information. And I remember he would tell me this when I was a teenager. And as a teenager, I would be afraid, why to ask? Just give the price. I said, no, ask. What is it? Ask, Not only this, when my friends talk about their parents, giving them some advices and instructions, I listen to that also very carefully. And when I get a chance, I go and talk to those parents and say, you told this to your son? The son told me and I'm implementing it. It's helping me. Very nice. One of the advice is this. You can never compete with loan. Any kind of loan. You work only 8 hours a day, whereas loan works 24 hours a day. How beautiful it is. So beautiful. Very nice. So be very careful what loan you take. How you can repay, how you cannot repay, how much is there, interest rate, all those things. All calculate and then make your call. Secondly, alone you are not working. With networking, you are working. Remember this. So true. So true. Just few things, So this is the thing that happens, and that person, still today, he's in our WhatsApp group and receives Krishna conscious messages, He's so elder now to me, 80 plus years. But blessings that are given by any person with experience comes in the form of advice. Just like transcendentally, when a guru gives advice, he's alive with the instructions. Yeah, we say this. A Vaishnava never dies. He's alive with the instructions. Same way, any living being is alive with you as long as you can adopt those instructions. Not all instructions, at least some of them. With it. So, here Lord Shiva, being a pure Vaishnava, followed the instructions of Lord Krishna, how he did. Yadyad acharati shreshthas, tattat eva taro janaha, sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. This is how Lord Shiva gave respect to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma was a little at peace, at ease, but still, at least it gave him confidence to speak what is going to speak. And that will be discussed in the next verse by the next speaker. Thank you very much. This is what I understood from this verse. I'll repeat this translation again. All the sages were sitting with Lord Shiva, such as Narad, who were sitting with Lord Shiva, such as Narad and others, also offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped, Lord Brahma, smiling, began to speak to Lord Shiva. Yeah. Now, I have not covered all the points from this particular translation, understanding different aspects of Srimad Bhagavatam. All of you are equally qualified or better qualified than me. Please, if you would like to share your realizations, it will be very nice. Please feel free.
You say because Prabhupada is Krishna.
Yes.
So the best way of getting back to Krishna is
The second part I don't understand. It's the best way to
So,
Krishna,
go to Krishna, then
yeah,
Krishna is through devotional service,
perform devotional service.
not by liberation.
Liberation is what you can achieve by performing devotional service.
What about people who just want liberation after death?
Yeah, they do not know what happens after death.
So they want to merge into Krishna, is that saying?
Yeah, there are many kinds of liberations. Sarupya Siddhi, Samipya Siddhi, Shasti, Shalokya Siddhi. There are different siddhis. That means either one becomes merging with Krishna's effulgence is one. Second, merging into Krishna's body is another. Third is having Krishna's similar form as Krishna's. Then fourth is living in the planet with Krishna. Then living close to Krishna. Then having the same appearance as Krishna. But even this can be achieved if one is really focused and knows what he wants. But in the 18th chapter, Krishna says that devotional service actually begins at liberation stage. When we are not functioning on the bodily platform. Right now also we can perform devotional service, but it is mixed because we are on the bodily platform. With our desires, we are going to Krishna. We are not as pure. But as we continuously perform this bhakti to Krishna, as we will be coming out of the bodily conscious, there is liberation. So devotee is liberated very easily, not too difficult. At that point in time, when we perform devotional service, there is Uttam Bhakti.
So, why is it better to be liberated in that way rather than merging into the body of Krishna or just being one with Krishna?
Because the purpose for which the spirit soul is made is to do service. Merging into the existence of Brahma Jyoti, there is nothing there, only eternity. That's why in the Srimad Bhagavatam it says that those living beings who are merging into the Brahman, after some time living there, without any actions, they fall down again. And Prabhupada says that because there is no activity there, they fall down back to the material world and then they start philanthropic activities. See, because the spirit soul is made up of three elements, which Krishna is made up of, which is eternity, knowledge and bliss. In the Brahma Jyoti is only eternity existing. There is, knowledge, with knowledge you can do eternity, that's alright. But there's no bliss. You may experience a bit of bliss, abhas, but not too much. The real bliss is there when we are in full knowledge, when we know we can eternally serve Krishna and that gives us bliss, enjoyment. This enjoyment is a crucial factor where all living beings are looking for. So that is the reason why at the liberated stage, even now without liberated stage, we are still feeling happy serving Krishna. But that stage we are more happy. The verse is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati Samaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktin Labhate Param. He says that Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When a person is reached the stage of liberation, Brahma Bhuta stage, Prasanna Atma, he is very joyful. Samaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu. At this stage, he looks at all living beings equally. Mad Bhaktin Labhate Param. At this point in time, the bhakti unto Krishna, Mad Bhakti, performing bhakti to Krishna is topmost. Each one experiences this. Real bhakti starts at that stage. This is okay? Yeah. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
the answer to your question, I was wondering whether I answered correctly. And I did.
Yes. Thank you. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Ananta Koti Vaishnavina ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.